Is this? Oh, that's your face mask. You're going
Yeah,
to talk about
I was
that.
gonna, yeah.
Okay. Ready? Again?
Uno más.
Oh, my God.
What?
You're wearing me out. God.
Yes, and you're all the better for it.
It's exhausting. Ready? Okay, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Voice of the Radical Center. My name is Jonathan Langley.
And I'm Jackie Nowak. Today is Sunday, April 5th, 2020.
And how are you doing during this coronavirus thing? I mean, because we said we weren't going to just focus on coronavirus, but we have to some extent because
it's affecting our lives.
Because it's affecting our
ways
entire
we
lives.
never imagined, yeah.
So how are you doing mentally? What's going on?
Oh, mentally.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that part of it? I mean,
Little extra stress, a little extra anxiety. I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos.
Really,
and-
YouTube?
Yeah. Okay. So.
So actually, let's start there. What are
Yeah.
you? What is Jackie Nowak during this time watching on television?
Okay,
When I
well,
don't just mean
YouTube
on Netflix,
is different.
Netflix
YouTube
and
is
everything.
different. So I am working out with the Body Project people.
What is that?
Love them. They're from they're from the UK somewhere. I'm assuming they're in
Really?
England. I don't know the details, but it's just a husband and wife that they do these workouts, and
What's so special about them?
I
There's
just
hundreds
like
of
them. They're my friends. No, I don't know. They're
Okay.
literally just
the Body Project.
yeah. It's
Okay.
just you could do low impact cardio,
Okay.
30-minute workout with these people online. And
So
do.
it's not live though. You're just watching.
No,
a
it's just a
YouTube.
recording that's
Okay.
been. You can watch
Okay.
the same one over. Or you can
Okay.
get new ones all the time. I did yoga with Adrienne, and Adrienne is a yogi here in Austin, but she puts out these YouTube videos.
Okay. So this wasn't on Zoom.
Well, I had a friend who joined me on Zoom, so
Okay.
she was watching it at her house. I was watching it at my house, and we both did the workout together.
Oh, okay. So you were watching the live thing together, and you were both doing. You could see
Yeah,
each other.
yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So just keeping
Okay.
each other company.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And I watched this well, actually I found something on Twitter because, you can
Yeah,
run
why not?
kind of deep. So it tells you how to make a homemade mask
Oh,
mask.
okay.
with a bandana.
Oh, so you've got one.
So I've
All
got
right.
one. So
if
I-
you're listening to us online, you have to
Yeah.
describe on Amazon, not on Amazon, sorry, on everything except YouTube or whatever.
Right. So you
You're not
take
gonna see
a bandana and
Okay.
you put a few folds in it. You put some rubber bands on it, and you make
Show
your
us.
homemade mask.
Wait a minute. How thick is got? It's a triple folded.
It's triple folded, and
see.
that is a little bit of the problem. Here it is, not staying on.
Yeah.
But so this is what it looks like.
Okay.
Except keep it on for 30 seconds, and you're suffocating. This
That's
is
too.
really
You
like.
know why? That's too thick.
But this is exactly. They say take a bandana. They show you how to fold it, and this is how it comes out. Except you can't breathe. You cannot breathe with this thing on.
So you know what I found the other day?
What?
I was going through some old drawers in the laundry room that have old tools in. Mm-hmm. I found a stash of
What?
3M masks
Oh.
that you use when you're for paint, to keep the
Oh,
dust.
okay.
And there's like 8 of them.
So he's been stockpiling.
I've been stockpiling and I didn't even know it.
One of those people.
Because I'm not a DIY guy. That's what
that is going to shock so many people.
yeah, I don't do
watching the show.
DIY.
Yeah.
I don't do any manual labor stuff like that
Yeah.
because I'm not built
Not
for it.
quite that handy.
No, I'm not quite that handy.
Yeah.
So it was amazing to me that in the laundry room at my house, I found 5 or 6, I forget the number, 3M masks, never been used,
Awesome.
designed for, and it says on the front, designed for paint.
Yeah, a lot of people use it even when they do lawns. If you've got
Yes,
allergies, if
yes.
you're out there mowing your lawn,
Yes.
you might have some masks.
But the
laying
thing
around.
is, though, about the mask is, it really doesn't protect you if you're out and about that much. It stops you from infecting other people.
Yes,
if you've
but
got
now
it.
you know they're recommending it for everybody.
But the thing is, if you can catch coronavirus through your eyes.
Yes, but
And
this,
you're not covering
you know
up
what?
your
if
eyes.
there's one extra layer of protection, nothing
All
wrong with it.
right.
But here's the problem. Let me tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was way too thick, so
Yeah.
I made my own version,
Oh, look at you.
and I decided to come up with a design
I've
all
said
on
this
my own.
before. I've said this before.
'Cause-
Our Hermione Granger,
Yeah.
the overachiever of the Voice to Radical Center, is Jackie Nowak. So
Yeah.
describe this
This
one.
is probably completely useless because
What
it's
is it?
thin.
What's it made of?
It's made of a man's handkerchief.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I know why. I could tell you right now it's useless.
it is because it's so thin. But I couldn't.
know
You
what they
can't
s-
breathe with
You know
that.
what they said? I read this morning in the
Tell
New York
me.
Times. If
Please.
throw it away. If you can see through the fabric, the material, which clearly that one you
Mm-hmm. Well,
just
what
showed,
about these? I mean,
Then
these
it's not
are the
designed-
official ones.
where'd you
but-
get that? See, I can't see through that. You're supposed to
No,
hold
you
them up
can't.
to the light, and you can't really see if you can't see the fabric
Well-
material. See, you can't. The other white handkerchief you could.
I
Where'd you
can
get
see-
that?
I have my sources.
She's got
I
an
am not
official-
naming names.
She's got an
I'm
official
not
one that a
throwing
nurse
anybody
might
under
need. You
the
need to
bus.
give those to the nurses. Shame on you. for
I
doing
have
it.
a
joking.
legitimate
All
need,
right,
so
all right,
we'll-
okay.
We'll call it that.
I watched 1917.
Yeah, how was that?
The way I describe movies like that, it's like Apocalypse Now, or
It's Academy Award movies.
like, for example, a movie like Fury with Brad Pitt. It's a little bit like that, as opposed to saying Glorious Bastards, which also had Brad Pitt. In that it's Inglourious Basterds was kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek. You could really enjoy it. Fury and 1917, especially 1917, it's hard work to watch it. You can't sit there and go, wow,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You can just go, wow, that was great. Because
It's-
the cinematography, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
I have not.
The
Oh,
cinematography in it is amazing.
yeah, I'm sure it's one of those Schindler List kind of movies that you
Yes, it is.
feel like you need to see it
Yes.
because it tells a good story
It
and a
did tell an
story that everybody
amazing
should know.
story.
But I have to say, this one, nobody I know liked it. Nobody I know enjoyed
Really?
it.
No one enjoyed 1917?
No, it kind of took them to a place they didn't want to go.
Because it's a hard topic.
It's a hard, yeah.
And it shows the horror of war. Again, a bit like
Yeah.
Apocalypse Now, or some of those things. It's kind of really, or Fury.
I think I'll save that one for
No, you got to watch
a
it.
different time.
Watch
Is
it
what I'm
with-
getting.
yeah, you gotta watch it.
during Coronaville.
Yeah, we're in Coronaville.
I don't know that I need to. be...
I just thought. So here's the other thing.
Okay,
Sorry, you
tell
just
me.
made me think about this.
Okay.
So,
Tell me.
because the Voice Radical Center studio is in the middle of beautiful sunny downtown Austin, Texas.
Okay.
What I haven't really done is driven around downtown Austin in the past week,
Okay.
2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So yesterday, got in the car and drove all the way down to First Street, Cesar Chavez,
Mm-hmm.
which for those that don't live in Austin, obviously, but you can imply it's right down near the river.
Downtown.
It's
yeah.
where the hotels are, and there's a lot of fancy restaurants and bars. It is really weird. It's right by the.
I think everybody could agree with that
I
sentiment.
went to the
in
convention
any town
center, drove
in
around the
America.
convention center area.
Yeah.
It is, you know what it reminded me of? So 6th Street is well known in Austin for a party. You know, the students
Right.
go there. A lot of young people go there. And so a lot of them, those places are boarded up.
I saw that they boarded them
they
up.
boarded up,
I
yep.
didn't know. Were
Yep.
they worried that people would break the glass?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
They just worried. A lot of business. You know what it reminded me of? And people in San Francisco, and they hate me for this. It actually, because the only people down there right now are homeless people. It reminded me, and you can hear them.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, many of them are
Everything's echoing
mentally ill.
Well,
So
okay.
they talk to themselves and they yell. It reminded me of downtown San Francisco. It was very
Okay.
well. Seriously, even people in San Francisco will tell you it's a problem.
Yeah. Oh, no,
So,
it is.
all right. So anyway, I did. I went out, and it was. You mentioned Coronaville.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's like Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I've
It's
been
very strange.
on the roads. I go to my fancy office of one.
We're going to get into that in a minute.
Mostly
Yes.
every day. And I've enjoyed my commute like you would not believe.
In your little car made by IKEA.
Exactly,
It's a-
exactly.
it's a
And
little electric
right now,
car.
I was just thinking on Friday afternoon as I was going home, the road to get to my house is completely torn up, under construction. I'm like, thank you, construction crews, and thank goodness nobody else is on the road right now because this would be a horrible nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm, making happy
Well, I
thoughts
get.
whenever I can. Like,
Okay.
oh, this is good.
So you'll be pleased to know I
Yeah.
have my list.
Okay.
We're going to talk about topics here. We are going to get into the big topic du jour is Jackie's attempt to pursuit
My pursuit of money.
for money to keep a business going.
Yeah.
Or to rather to
Small
pay her
business administration loans, how that worked out for the last 2 weeks. We've really been working on it.
and to pay her employees, which we've mentioned that before.
And I'm assuming I'm typical American business, right?
Yeah.
And how this is all working out.
So we'll talk about that. You'll be pleased to know I'm not going to make fun of the Wall Street Journal op-eds again. This is 2 weeks in a row. I haven't had to do it.
We're going for the record.
We're going for the record, except that one Stassel lady who's on the board, the op-ed board, did mention this week that Trump's pointing out that Trump's reviews on taking care of coronavirus. This is when she probably wrote it on Tuesday. It's published Wednesday or Thursday, saying, "Oh, what a great job he was doing." Except today, we now find out he's underwater. I mean, if the man stands up there for an hour and a half every day, saying
You found out he's underwater. I don't know what you were referring to.
his approval rating on the handling of the coronavirus.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping around.
And see, are Republicans starting to say that maybe it could have been handled better? I wasn't.
Why
I'm not,
wouldn't they? I mean, if you have family members who are getting sick and you can't get tested, or this has nothing to do with politics. This is life and death.
Yeah. Well, we did hit the big marker of 1 million tests taken here in the United States this week.
So how does that compare to other countries as far as percentage of the population?
Well,
1 million out of 340 million is only 1 in 345. So
there you go.
It's not that many.
So also, the Trump administration came out and said they expected 1 million tests to be taken at the beginning of March, and here it is the beginning of April. So we're at least a month behind schedule.
Well, Trump did say, "I am an optimist, and I do like to make people feel good. It's my job." It's like, wait a minute, no, your job is to help them.
Well,
hope is not a strategy.
I think that what we really want from our leaders is not to make us feel good, but maybe to make us feel secure, to make us feel listened to make us
give
us
facts.
Yeah.
Give us facts. We can take it. All right, so I'm not going to be shooting fish in a barrel again, which kind of disappoints me with the Wall Street Journal this week. They were pretty well behaved. However, I did have a solution for Trump being able to satisfy building a wall. Is
he still doing that?
He claims he is. Building a wall and...
Just maybe taking a back seat a little bit.
Building a wall and quarantining the entire tri-state area.
Yeah, he does want to do that.
He does want to do that. So
these are his two big goals.
Those are his two big goals. So we can do both at the same time. Have you ever seen Escape from New York with Kurt Russell? It's where the president of the United States ends up, his plane crashes. They basically turn Manhattan Island into one giant prison.
Okay.
So there's a wall around it. So Donald Trump could, at the very least, build a wall around New York City.
Okay.
And at the same time, quarantine New York. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. So that's my legitimate.
Well, I think you need to write him a letter.
I think I should. He'll probably agree to it.
Or just tweet at him.
You know what?
Tweet
I
him
will.
Your ideas.
I will.
He gets a lot of his information.
He does.
That way.
He loves getting his information. He even responds.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I just want to make fun, of course, of Congress, and which includes Republicans as well, Democrats as well as Republicans. So here they are passing this relief bill, which you're trying to get.
Right.
Your share of $350 billion.
It's called CARES Act.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. The first thing they do, just to be clear, after that, is to go on holiday for 3 weeks.
They come and go a lot, but I guess they have to get home.
But perception is reality, right? I mean,
so if they're not
there, then they're going on vacation. And what could possibly happen in the next 3 weeks? I mean, seriously. Nothing bad can happen in the next 3 weeks. So they went on vacay. It's good to know that they're taking care. And remember, they have great health care. They're not going to lose their jobs.
No.
And if they get sick,
well, guess what?
they don't have to worry about it.
I think some people are going to be losing their jobs.
You wish that some of them would.
Well.
All right, the
world is changing
all right,
dramatically.
so you should be happy I'm not making fun of the Wall Street Journal too much this week.
Okay.
Or idiotic op-eds even in the
But
New
what
York
have you been
Times.
doing? If you're not making fun of them, what have you been up to?
Writing. I've got my book coming out, which once it's published, we'll be talking about it a lot here.
Good. Hopefully. Well, you should have a little extra time for that.
You know what? It's really interesting. There's so many more, because I live in Central Austin, so many. Are you seeing more people walking around your neighborhood?
Yeah.
People you don't even know. It's like, oh, I have neighbors.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so here's one thing though. I just want to, before we get
Okay.
into your travels with the SBA and trying to keep your business going, because this is the main topic of the day. There's a couple stuck they went on vacation for honeymoon at a 5-star resort in the Maldives. So they went on honeymoon on March the 22nd. And this is a resort that normally has, it sounds like a pretty upscale place. It's minimum price of $750 a night.
I would call that upscale,
yeah,
sure.
Right, that's the entry
Yeah.
price. So they was planning on staying for 6 days or 6 nights, and guess what? They're still there. They can't get out.
And this was from when?
So March the 22nd.
Okay.
So they have been there for basically 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and they can't get out. And they're South African. They're trying to get back to South Africa. There's no flights out of Maldives right now.
Right.
So here they are in this resort, he and his wife, basically stuck in the Maldives with the full staff of the hotel still at their disposal because they can't get out either. They can't go anywhere
let's
else.
just say there could be worse places for them to be stuck.
Well, exactly.
Lucky them.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, I mean, there's only so many things after 2.5 weeks. It's like being stuck on. It's like
Hey, they're have the exact same life as everybody else, but they're in the Maldives.
except they're
no,
still paying.
No sympathy
They're going to
for
go.
me.
Their point is they're going to go broke. Now they are getting a very discounted rate. It says, but I don't know what that means. But at some point they're going to run out of money.
Here's the thing: what are they gonna? They are either gonna get kicked out because they don't pay their
But
bills.
they can't get
I know.
out. There's nowhere for them to go.
I mean, you can't
Right.
squeeze blood from
So
a
I
turnip.
guess for some people, life. I mean, it could be worse.
It could be worse.
If you're going to be stuck somewhere, being stuck on your own
At
in
a
five-star
fancy resort.
resort in the Maldives, which has the most beautiful clear water of anyway. I've never been, but I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
With a full staff on hand.
Well, let me tell you about a girlfriend that I've got.
Sure.
She had this exotic trip planned to the Easter Islands.
Ooh.
She flew back into California and then couldn't. She's going to have to drive herself back home, but she was stuck in California. I mean,
Where's she trying to get to?
Austin.
Oh no! Oh really? To here? So
She could-
So
I
did
don't
she
know
ever
why.
make it to
Well, her flights
Easter
were
Island? Did she make it to Easter
Yeah,
Island?
she made it to Easter Island, but the world exploded as soon as she did, and
So she couldn't fly into Austin. She had to fly into California.
yeah.
Okay.
And then her flights from California to here were canceled, so she was
Really?
just scrambling how to get
Oh,
home.
God.
She'll be fine.
Oh, let's talk about that
Yeah.
very quickly while I get rid of that. I don't feel too sorry for that young couple because at least if you're going to be stuck somewhere. But your sister is a flight attendant.
Right.
And we'll put the pictures up online if you're watching it on our YouTube. If you're actually listening to us on SoundCloud and on everywhere else, because we're everywhere, you won't see it. But just describe, she's a flight attendant.
Flew to Mexico, Mazatlan.
Yes.
It was one of her flights this
And there was
past week.
one person on the plane.
It was a flight of one.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so I guess they got to, lay down and relax.
Well,
I would
there's
take up all
one
3
person.
seats, take a little nap.
And she sent a video of, which we'll also post,
Yeah, of her return back into DFW.
And no one there.
Of like it's just an empty airport. That's kind of eerie.
It is.
It's kind of creepy.
It is.
It's one of those. It would be a perfect scene time to shoot an apocalyptic
Yes,
movie
absolutely.
because the streets are empty and who knows? Maybe there's
Right.
A cameraman out there right now doing this.
Exactly.
Getting B-roll of all the cities
Exactly.
on empty.
So, and the other thing was that she, in addition to the flights, she also had a co-worker who she
Yeah.
thought was sick, who she had
Yeah,
to get
because
kicked
what
off the
happens
plane.
is when you're a flight attendant, you get put on a flight. You don't know who the other. You don't
No, you don't
always
know
work
them.
with the
Right,
same people.
right.
It's not an office situation. And a young gal showed up to work sick, and she basically said, "I'm not working with her. Why are you here?" And they sent her home.
Wow.
But,
Okay,
yeah.
that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing. One of the things we want to talk about is how you and your husband are trying to keep your business going.
Yeah.
And-
Can
Yeah,
I, can
yeah,
I
I'll
throw
go right-
something else
yeah,
at you
yeah, go
before
ahead.
we go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that topic?
Yeah.
So right now, they said like in the last 2 weeks, 10 million people have lost their jobs in the last 2
Well,
weeks.
that brings to the fact that they don't get health insurance.
And they will
that's
not have health insurance.
that's-
But let me tell you
it's
what,
gonna show
one
the safety
company
net.
is growing right now. And I'm sure we all could guess that Amazon is hiring 100,000 people.
Actually, they said they've already hired 80 of the 100,000.
Yes, well, let me tell you. So one day, I know somebody who applied for an Amazon warehouse job in Coppell, Texas.
Okay.
It's
Where is it? I don't know where Coppell, Texas is.
I'm gonna guess it's somewhere in the Dallas area.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Yes,
really
actually,
know.
you know what? You're right. It's in the Dallas.
It's in the Dallas
It's in the
area.
DFW area. Yes,
okay.
it is.
Anyway, and so they were hiring 100,000 people, and I have pictures of this too that we can share. But this one day there was an email glitch. Usually, after they hire people, you have to do the onboarding process, right? So you go to the company, you fill out all the paperwork once you've been hired, and they'd been hiring 300 and 400 people a day at this one location. And there was an email glitch, and they actually had 800 people show up to start their jobs. They usually space
they stagger
it out
them. They
better.
stagger them. Okay.
And so 800 people. So I have a picture of that we can put online.
Did
as
they?
well.
Did they all get hired?
They all got hired.
Did they? Get
Not
help?
everybody stays.
No, but did they? Because it's hard work.
It's hard work, but let me tell you, since you're
Yeah.
talking about health insurance,
Yes, that was my next question.
they not only get great health insurance, they get their prescriptions paid.
Really?
Yeah. And the person that I know that got hired, he got hired for 40 hours a week at $18.58 an hour. That is the hazard pay number, just so that you know, but worked 13 hours overtime at double pay.
Wow.
So they have that.
I don't know what that
much-
translates into per year, but if they're working that double time as overtime.
Right. But I mean, so people.
It's a physically demanding job.
It's a physically demanding job, and no doubt that they've got gloves. They don't have masks because they're not around other people.
Okay.
But I'm assuming just is picking and packing. I'm kind of guessing. I
You
don't
know,
know what he's doing.
I-
But that's a pretty great job for somebody who wants to get out there and work that has just lost their job.
Yeah,
So-
I haven't actually ordered from Amazon lately, but I've become an Amazon fan. I just can't help it. It makes it so convenient. It's just. The exact opposite. I had to. Okay, I didn't do this last week.
Oh,
Seeing
okay.
as this is your fault. I was trying to get us to the SBA topic, and you got us onto something else. So
Okay.
now I have to talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
Marriott hotels. So Marriott hotels laid off 3.5. Excuse me, because before people write to me and tell me I'm wrong, Ed or Ted or whatever his name is will always write to me. Marriott hotels furloughed 3,500 of their 4,000 odd
Yeah.
corporate headquarters
And
people.
they were one of the first big companies to just let everybody
And
go.
that-
So this
yes.
may be a bad
This
publicity.
was a really Marriott
angle here.
terribly bad, and not only that. What's worse about this? Marriott has literally spent billions upon billions. I actually I didn't write this number. This is from last week that I scribbled on this piece of card, so I just didn't get to it last week. Marriott literally has spent billions upon billions on stock buyback, but it's even worse than that. They spent billions and billions of stock buyback at an average price of $140. Now, last time I checked, this was a week ago, Marriott stock prices, it may have gone up or down since then, was $80. So they've
Yeah.
they've
well,
done they've
it's not
magically
going up right now. So
no they've
it's
magically
only
lost
going
money
down.
on their own stock.
Yeah.
Spent money on instead of putting it in a rainy day fund to help protect their employees.
Yeah.
Have now furloughed basically 2/3 of their employees or 3/4 of their employees in their corporate headquarters. And we should not give these people money. We should not give Marriott. If they go to the wall,
No,
let them go.
We've
Let them go.
already committed to bail out the hotels, the airlines,
The airlines I get, but hotels but people who spend all money on stock buyback and we're supposed to back.
Well, airlines did that too, right?
Actually, you know what? No. We can give them money, but we need a seat on the board of directors, and we need also ownership in that company.
Okay, except
not,
the
not
problem
permanent,
is
not permanently.
the
just for
pressure to get all of this done and to spend the $2 trillion. Democrats were under a lot of pressure to just sign.
I
Just
agree,
sign
but
it, just get the
but it-
money out, and as well as Republicans.
But no, the Republicans didn't.
They
remember-
didn't put stipulations on any of this money, and
No.
I hope it does not come back to
The
bite
Democrats,
us in the butt.
The Democrats put extra money in there for unemployment. The Republicans didn't want it.
Yeah.
Which again, There are Republicans, guys, being laid off right now. There
Yeah.
are Republican hardcore Trump supporters being laid off right now.
Yeah, and also getting infected with coronavirus.
Getting infected with coronavirus. And that's the other thing. If you
where
lose...
at this point, it doesn't distinguish
No,
Democrats
it doesn't care
from
if you're a black...
Republicans or...
Yeah, it doesn't care if you're a redhead or a ex... guy that grew up in the UK. It doesn't matter. I'm an American. I'm an American. It doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're Republican, Democrat, short, fat, thin, black, white, whatever. It doesn't orange. It doesn't care. Right. So it's just, it's actually, I think as the Democrats, this is what an opportunity for them to grab the bull by the balls. Sorry. It's that image.
Just a lovely visual going on there.
And squeeze really hard because this shows how a lack of safety net in America could really come back.
So
to
yeah,
bite us.
this just brings to the forefront what Democrats have been screaming.
Yes,
that
because
the healthcare system
is broken. It's fundamentally broken
for a lot of people. For some
people,
people, if you're wealthy, it works just fine.
If you're wealthy or get good health insurance, it works just fine. But again, look at the results. We're not going to go through this. We are going to do whole programs on the healthcare system when we get to Amazon's show, which we can't do because our venue is closed because we can't have because of social distancing, so we can't have an audience and not only if we could get an audience, they're closed. All right.
Yeah.
So anything else before we get to your travails with the SBA and trying to get money?
No. So we can talk about the process that I've been going through.
So explain what a business you're in a let me set this up for you. You're in I'll be the good straight man now.
Okay.
You're in we're not going to mention what industry, but you're in the service industry. Mm-hmm. You have employees.
Correct.
You've been in this business a long time, so you know how it works. You know what you're doing. You've made a living out of it.
Right.
Send kids to school and all that. And you clearly care about your employees. And one of the things that came up was that the Trump administration, which is a good idea, said that we're going to give loans to small business, less than 500 employees, to tie you over for 2 months so that you can pay those employees so they don't have to get unemployment. Am I right so far?
That sounds perfect.
Okay, so what actually happened?
Okay,
how
so
did this go?
These are loans that the employer takes out, and they can be completely forgiven if you use them for payroll. That's a perfect win-win situation.
Yeah, because these people aren't going on unemployment.
Yeah. So who wouldn't do this?
Right.
So everybody's out there scrambling, going, sign me up, put me on the list. How does that happen? But when you read the fine print of the CARES Act, and there are a few little details that you go, what does that mean? So
that's what it's called, the CARES Act?
It is. Well, this particular portion of the CARES Act is the Payroll Protection Program.
Oh, that's what Trump tweets about, the PPP.
The PPP.
Okay.
Okay, and so if the little details and the fine print aren't followed exactly, then I would be responsible to pay back all that money or portions of the money where things weren't done. And so you want to ask people a couple questions to make sure you do things properly, and nobody has the answers for you. And initially, when this was rolling out, the Trump administration was going to do it through the Small Business Administration. Okay. And so at first I thought, how is that going to happen? You're going to have millions of people flooding the Small Business Administration.
Which is not geared up to take it.
Right. So immediately I did just what everybody else did. You run to them online and you think, well, do I contact a branch in my area or I just go to the main office? And we were told, just go to the website, fill out the paperwork that they have online, and that will get the process started. Well, that was a couple weeks ago when it first was mentioned. Well, you go to the website and they do have a disaster loan application, but it asks things like if you've been in a hurricane. I mean, basically.
Yeah, we have. I feel like we're in a hurricane right now.
Drought, is this flooding? And it asks how much damage was done to your property. And you're like, this is not the right paperwork. How do we get the right paperwork? But we filled it out anyway. Sent it in via email, sent it in snail mail. And then Steve Mnuchin came out and said, hey, we're going to work with banks so the banks will actually give you a loan. And we're like,
which
great.
Actually makes more sense.
Yeah. And so the banks being closed right now, my husband literally went through the drive-through and said, hey, how is this happening? And they didn't have the answer. They didn't know. And then you call the banks and they're not sure, but they'll keep you posted. And then finally, so at the beginning of this week, they started saying...
Yeah, this is real current. This just happened this past week.
So this is Sunday. Last Monday, we got an indication that they said, well, wait, we're going to know more on Friday. And then we keep getting checked back in, with the people. And they said, okay, we're going to know on Friday. Then you call on Friday and they said... some things are going to happen tonight, or happened late last night at 4
at some point in the week.
Yes. So I called the SBA a number of times during the week, and that's what these phone calls. We've got some phone calls.
So this
recorded.
was to help you get information to go whether you
to see if they could answer a couple questions for me. This was actually knowing that the banks were going to be involved. Right. So this was really early in the week.
So let's just play this. So we're gonna play this, and it's just a minute and a half of the first one, and the other two are 30 seconds each, and you're going to explain to us what happened.
Right.
And we want to know, as Jackie Nowak fans, is if there was actually good news at the end of this story.
Okay.
We don't know yet. So this is the first time you called the SBA.
Yeah.
Welcome to the U.S. Small Business Administration Disaster Assistance Customer Service Center. So if you are calling about the impact of the coronavirus to your business, press 2.
For general information and frequently asked questions on our Economic Injury Loan Program to support businesses impacted by the coronavirus, please press 1.
Jackson, if you're calling about questions about your Economic Injury Loan Program or the Payment Protection Program.
The Payment Protection Program.
Okay. And how may I assist you today?
Well, I'm curious. I've got a couple questions concerning the stipulations surrounding keeping the employees working. And I was just wondering, so as an example, if I've got 10 employees now, I need to, and I want to pay them all, I still need to have all 10 of those employees working by June 30th. Is that the stipulation? Is that the date? What that date means?
All right, let me get you over to someone here.
Okay.
Contacting the U.S. Small Business Administration's Payment Protection Programs information line.
I don't know what just happened there. It appears I was sent back into the system. I'm going to try again.
I just think that's great. We've all been through that where you end even on a I don't know, trying to get an appointment with or book a flight, you end up in an endless horrible loop of help. Right. So I love the fact that the first guy who comes on with the record, you couldn't have cast a more less personality. Yes, it was very Bueller. Yes, very Bueller.
Anyway,
yes.
But so that was the recording that you listened to over and over again. And clearly what happened is this lady tried to send me, or she said she was going to send me to somebody who would have the answers that I'm looking for. And we got
Now, the thing about all this is, before we play the next two very short snippets, is that there are thousands upon thousands of businesses trying to figure this out.
Right.
And you got lucky in the end. We're going to explain that in a second because you had some help from inside a bank. But and I'm not blaming the Trump. By the way, I'm not blaming anyone for this.
No, this is a big task.
This is a big task. But think about the hundreds of thousands of businesses,
just like me,
like you,
ready to pull their hair out,
trying to do the best thing for their employees. Yeah. Okay, so you diligently.
I fought on.
You fought on. Yeah. So let's see you hear that one.
How long do I have to keep 75% of my people on payroll? Do you know?
I do not know, but however, I can transfer you to somebody that might be able to answer your questions.
Okay, that would be great.
All right. I will do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I just love that. That's just like, so she's trying to transfer. I don't think she deliberately probably tried. It's just
well, it started to feel a little deliberate.
Really?
After 3 times?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a quick question, because I know the bank eventually you're going to tell us a story with the bank, but Did the bank have the information to say how many employees that you're supposed to keep on to qualify?
Not yet.
See, that's the thing. So no one can really tell you that.
Correct.
So the SBA, you would have thought, could have at least told you that.
That was a little more detailed of a question that they couldn't answer.
Right. So
Yeah.
here's the last part, which is
Yeah,
I think is the best part of this whole. I just think this is great.
Welcome to the U.S. Small Business Administration Disaster Assistance Customer Service Center.
I'm going to
If
keep
you know your party's
waiting
extension,
at least one
please
more
press
time.
1. To find the latest by submitting a paper application. Paper applications can be downloaded from our website. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
I just think that's.
Oh, didn't see that one coming.
I just think that's great. It's
Well,
like
it's classic.
It's
I mean,
classic.
it's
You call them up and they say welcome, and then they say goodbye.
Without,
It didn't even
yeah.
give you a chance to do anything.
No, I just listened to it. Was
That's great.
So what happened is, what you didn't hear was there was another phone call in between there that they, on the recording, gave me another 1-800 number to ask questions.
Okay.
So I called that 1-800 number, and that's when I got
That's
that
brilliant.
recording, which
and
was
that recording is
so
just
helpful.
telling you. That recording is just telling you go online and do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So what?
So then after that, so that must have been Tuesday or Wednesday
Yeah.
that all of that occurred. And then Steve, there was a press conference with the president and Steve Mnuchin, and he said, banks are going to be able to do this right away, and you're going to go through your banker. So then we started calling banks, and they had no clue. The people that you talk to at the branches, I'm sure that if I called the president of Chase or Wells Fargo, they're going to know what's going on.
I'm sure you have his number on your cell phone.
But since I didn't have access to his cell phone number, we called the banks, and they really just didn't know when it was going to roll out and how it was going to roll out. And so this was an assumption on my part. I thought we would just be going and speaking with a banker. And I didn't know how that was going to happen because the banks are closed. And
Yeah, you
there's
can't
no
walk in and speak to a banker.
close talking.
Right? Yeah.
And so I thought, we're going to drive through the drive-through, fill out a loan application and hand it to somebody.
So what happened? You ended up, your husband and you, who run this business, you've
Mm-hmm.
been doing it for some time with your employees. You actually have a contact at a bank who's really
Right.
helped
So our person at the bank actually called us on Friday night. It was after hours and said, I know this is coming. I don't know when it's coming. And what information do you have questions about? And we told him, she goes, well, do you actually can you send me a copy of what you had? Which was actually the entire CARES Act is the legislation. That's what we had. So
Yeah.
we sent that to her, and she was helping us decipher it, and her interpretation of it was different than our interpretation of it. So that was another concern, but we liked hers better than ours.
Oh, okay, that's good.
It was more optimistic.
Okay.
And then I got a heads up that this bank was going to be opening this up on Saturday around 12 o'clock. But what you did is you went online to the main branch, not to, you went to wellsfargo.com, chase.com, bankofamerica.com, and you go through their portals to fill out all the paperwork, and then you wait. And so that happened for us about noon on Saturday, that one of the banks opened up their portal, and we fill out all the information really quick on Saturday. Saturday night, we got an email about 8:45.
So that's
something
I
like
just
that.
made that connection. Within 8 hours, they got back to you.
They got back with us.
Wow,
Well, we
okay.
got an email saying you need this,
Okay.
this, fill out this paperwork, and wait for a phone call. Well, or they didn't say a phone call. Oh, wait, no, they did say a phone call, because they said this will be the last 4 digits of the phone number that'll be calling you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so I, this morning at about 10 o'clock, got a phone call from a Houston number, and I answered it, and she said, did you get my email? Do you have this, this, and this? And seemed pleasantly surprised when I said, why, yes, I did.
Because you'd already done so much work on this.
Right. We had all the paperwork ready. And
So what happens now? She that's very commendable. They called you
so
on a
we scanned
Sunday
our
morning.
documents, filled out more paperwork, emailed it to her, and now we wait.
So the question then is,
Mm-hmm.
No one's told you yet, though, because you have to fill in and show how many employees you've got, what you paid them, your payroll and everything. what the rules are, right? You still don't know some of the rules, correct?
We don't know any of the rules.
Right, so you know how to qualify. That's
Right,
one
so
thing, but you don't know what the rules are as far as when you pay it back, or rather when you don't have to pay it back.
Right.
You don't have the rules yet.
We're gonna
So what's
get
next?
the money first is what our,
Okay.
see how long it takes to actually get the funds.
Okay.
And then before we disperse any of it, we have to have the details because we can't get stuck with
Right, because you don't
owing
want
that money.
You don't want to give money out to your employees, which is the whole point. Only to
Right.
find out that you didn't meet the rules,
Right.
And then the banks come back and say you didn't do what we told you to do. You are now on the hook for it.
Right.
Okay.
Because it's a significant amount of
Sure it
it's
is.
significant enough to me that I would, I don't want to get stuck with
No,
it. Although
exactly.
I'm just dying to, write checks to my employees
Of
because they
course.
need it. Yeah.
So in the meantime, your employees, because the whole point of this is to when your business quote opens up,
Mm-hmm.
that you'll be able to jump right back in because the employees won't have moved
Right.
on or got.
But the
how-
problem with that, this is the big problem with the whole plan, is we don't know a timeline, right? So if it is that I'm supposed to hang on to my employees
For 2 months.
but the city doesn't open up for 4 months,
What happens?
a lot can change.
But
And
didn't-
so how do you know? If our city says we're going to be closed till June 1st or June 30th, or maybe it's July, I'm sitting here committing a lot of money to pay employees, hoping that I'm following the rules, and they'll just have to. It's
There's
all
no question.
winging it, and
There's-
who likes to wing it?
And to be fair to everybody, right? Every country right now is wrestling with this problem.
Yeah.
It's how you can maintain a business so that people don't claim unemployment and become sick or something because the society
or starve.
Or
There
starve,
were
yeah.
lines
People-
of cars in the paper today. If you saw it here in Austin,
No.
people are waiting in long, long lines to get 30 pounds of food already
from food banks.
from food banks here in Austin.
Yeah. See,
So
that's
there's-
again. This is going to show. Then the Democrats, if they don't take advantage of pulling, because I think most people will go. We can't have people going hungry in America.
Right.
We can't have people in a pandemic or in a crisis situation not being able to take care of their children or their elderly parents, or if they get cancer.
Yeah.
It shows the system is broken. The question is who has the guts politician-wise to do it.
Well, one of the other things I wanted to mention is about the $1,200 that's going to everybody who's got a social
So your
security.
employees will get that.
Yeah, so everybody's supposed to get that across the board. And you say my employees will get it. Well, here's the thing. If you have a direct deposit account where the IRS can access it and put the money in there, everybody will get it right away. I just found out if you need and require a paper check, say you don't have a checking account.
Some people don't.
A lot of
Some
people don't.
have.
A lot of people cash
Yeah.
their checks at check cashing
Yes, they
places.
do. Yes, they do.
Those people are going to have to wait until September.
How do
I
they know?
heard that today.
Where do they get the information to know that you've got a direct deposit? How does that work?
Well, because we have a business, we
it's
do
on
our
file.
taxes
It's on
through
file. I
our
see.
banking, right? So we have that. But when you file through, like if you use somebody like H&R Block, a lot of people go to them because H&R Block will give them the money right away.
Right.
And then when the check comes in, they just have to come sign it over to H&R Block.
Okay.
Well, they don't have access to that person's checking account.
I see.
right?
I see. Yeah.
There's
okay.
so many people. The people who really need the money fast are probably the ones who might not have a checking account.
Yeah.
So that really sucks.
And the $1,000 in the scheme of things ain't gonna do much because it's
Yeah.
you need to be able to keep people. There needs to be a big enough buffer, like with your smaller business, less than 500 employees is who gets it, right?
Right.
So Marriott won't be able to get it. Is that although they get the airlines and others will get something, because you can't have airlines going, I don't know, who cares about Marriott? There's tons of hotels, but airlines are a slightly different animal. The fact is that you've got a situation where your employees and hundreds of thousands of other employees throughout the country
Right.
have been furloughed, or you haven't furloughed yours in that sense because you're waiting to pay them. These employees are being asked to carry the load while we figure this out. And some companies like GE and who should know better and who get government contracts and Marriott and all these people are doing despicable things, in my view, and furloughing people. And they're going to claim...
But the truth is what are they supposed to do? There's no money coming in.
But they have these large corporations like GE.
Yeah,
they have billions. They have billions of dollars. I'm not saying they can go 6 months.
Yeah.
But to do it now, after only a few weeks, no, that
was a little quick. Yeah.
That's morally no. It's also morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
So okay, so the bottom line is, you're hoping in the next... What do they tell you? How does it work? What happens now? Will they give you a timeline?
Wait. No, we don't have a timeline. No.
But how long can you... Let's say it takes a month. Your employees need to get something. Are they supposed to file for unemployment? I mean, what are
No, and we've already told our employees that if they need a buffer, let us know.
Oh, you'll give it to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, it just depends on how long it takes. So if this is meant to be really quick, and it's happening fast. So we filled out the paperwork. We got our email. We got our phone call.
I'm impressed.
I think we're in queue, and it's happening
now,
quick.
again,
and I don't know. I'm assuming I'm typical, but I don't know.
But no, I don't think you are. Kudos to you guys for doing this. There's obviously thousands of companies like you who have done it, but for a lot of people, they may be caught unprepared.
Right.
And
so if they're waiting to see what happens and get all the information before they fill it out, there may not be enough money to go around.
So kudos to the banks for doing that,
Yeah.
and I get it.
Well, it's going to be a good profit center for them because they're not doing it for free.
Well, here's the other
banks.
thing. There's 350 billion. What do you call it? The PPP? What is
Right,
that?
the PPP, Payroll Protection Program.
Okay. So 350 billion is going to go just like that. I mean, in the scheme, 2 trillion that we've set aside for this government is nowhere near enough in our economy. I mean,
I know.
There's some, because even the analogy I use with people, as you know, I'm a car person, is all the even Trump wants to open up the economy. Well, yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah.
I agree. At some point, if it's not going to crater everything, if we don't make people sick, but the car dealerships are still open, not just the workshops, but you can go buy a car tomorrow if you want, right? You could go buy that Rolls Royce.
But is anybody walking out the door?
Exactly.
running
No
to
one. No one's doing it. And I just saw.
Well, there's a lot of businesses that could still technically work if they had customers,
Right.
Or if they had.
Would you go to watch the movies right now? Would you go to the movie theater?
No, of course not.
Would
Even
you...
if they said we only sell every 3 seats, would you go?
No. Would you go? So you're not going to go buy a car, and the car sales, we're going to see this in the next 30 days because it's they just announced the quarterly ones, but the way they announce it, some companies like GM and Ford only do quarterly, others do it monthly. But the rough estimate is if the sales for the entire quarter were down 20 to 30%, that means to get to that point, given that January and February were pretty good, that means that sales probably for the last few weeks of March were down like 70 to 80%.
Absolutely. And it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
And they're not closed.
No, and
you
that's
can go buy a car right
now
now if you want.
Segment of our economics, right?
Yes.
Just as hospitality is, just how
the
travel industry is.
Who's going to stay at Marriott? I certainly won't be anymore.
Tourism is a huge economic driver in a lot of communities across America, whether it's the beach or if it's the ski slopes.
So if you're a car salesman, if you're working on commission at a Lexus dealership or some of these others, I mean, it's no one's going to, this is a prime example. The economy, to all intents and purposes, for the car industry is open. It's there. You can go do it right now. But who's going to do it with all this uncertainty?
If I were buying a car right now, I'd be buying it online first and foremost. I'm not walking into any dealership.
Though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
exactly. But it's those big money purchases. I'm not buying a car, a house, a boat. But they're still for sale.
My point is, if these restaurants are open, are you going to go to a restaurant? Are you going to go sit in McDonald's like older people do and have your coffee?
No, not
That's what they do,
soon.
right? I think it's a rite of passage.
Small towns, it's
a rite of passage when
thing.
you're 75 years old or in the early 70s. The rite of passage is to go to McDonald's and just have coffee.
Yeah, well,
who's going to do that?
Let me just say, there used to be diners all across America that's where people would go, and those mom and pop diners.
If you take diners in as a chain, are you going to go to Denny's? Are you going to go to IHOP? You're not going to do that, even if it was open.
I'll be eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee.
Okay,
at home.
all right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else we got to cover here?
Well, just what have you been watching? You mentioned about
1917.
1917. Well, I didn't get to tell you. I got to recommend a series for you. It's on Netflix.
I recommended The Stranger, which is really good. British
and I
show.
still haven't. I watched the first maybe 1.5 or 2 episodes. Maybe it was even more.
The Stranger, the one where the girl shows up and says, your wife's children
Yeah,
are
my
you?"
husband finished it. I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It's something just didn't
All right,
grab me.
That's fine, whatever. What are you recommending for me then?
Well, I think you need to sit down and watch The Tiger King.
No. I'm
just
not
wanna be
watching The
able to
Tiger King.
discuss
No.
it with you.
I don't even know what it's about, and I don't want to watch it.
It's about Joe Exotic and his exotic animals.
And is it real life or is it fantasy?
No, it's a documentary.
Ugh.
It's a.
Why did it
is
take
a
off?
documentary,
I mean,
but it's a little bit of reality.
So why did it
TV.
take off? Why is it so popular?
Because nobody has anything else to do right now.
Except watch us, of course. But
Yeah.
but seriously, it's no, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not in
Okay,
a
it's
million
pretty
years.
fun, but all right.
That amount of
because-
dysfunction. Listen, I get
Yes,
the dysfunction.
you're gonna watch 1917.
I don't watch it already, but
with its wonderful cinematography.
No, I'm gonna watch
and
Knives
I'm
Out.
watching Joe Exotic and American Idol.
Yeah, I might. What does that say about us, by the way? That
Well,
we're doing that. What does
yeah,
that say?
exactly.
Seriously? But I'm going to watch Knives Out. I think.
Oh,
I haven't
you know
seen
what?
that. Yeah, that's
I
supposed to be
heard
really
it
good.
was good. I don't.
And The Invisible
know.
Man. I might watch that too.
Okay.
Those are all movies that were right in the theater, but they can't. No one's going to see them anymore because the theaters have closed. So yeah, I might do that. I'm certainly going to watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail again for like the 20th time.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah,
that
'cause
sounds
you're not a
delightful.
Monty Python person,
No, but
I
I've
know.
got another project I'm working on.
What's that?
Well, my clippers arrived via Amazon today.
You mean like nail clippers?
No. Hair cutting clippers is what I think you call it. It's like to cut my husband's hair. So he's
Electric?
Electric.
Oh my
like
God, you could make him bald. Holy
Very
cow.
easily.
Mark, run away as fast as you can, mate.
I know.
Run.
I'm a little bit nervous for him, but
Wait a minute,
he kind of said
He wants you to do it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I didn't volunteer for this job.
Okay.
But he was like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? Nobody's going to see me anyway.
He gets
Or
a
he
mohawk
said-
is what's the worst that's going to
So
happen.
he'll wear a baseball cap. It'll grow back. It'll be,
Well,
maybe
is
this
it
could be
because
a new
it's
career
too
for me.
long or is it just scruffy looking?
No, it's gonna if
Right
you don't
now,
take care of it.
why does he need
this
it?
moment is I don't have to do it today. He doesn't like
Okay.
it when the sides get long.
Okay.
But it's getting close, and if we're on lockdown for another month, that's one of the last things
Yeah.
that's going to come back, right? Somebody touching you.
No, they're
Cutting your
closed.
hair?
The salons are closed.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and it's
Dentists
not.
are closed.
It's right up
Yeah.
there with. That's not opening up anytime
No,
soon.
no.
There'll be other industries that maybe can come
So,
back, like even the car, because you don't have to touch anybody when you go buy a car. But you can't. You have to touch
I
somebody.
don't
getting
think
your
people
hair
are
cut.
going to buy a car if they're
Yeah.
because of the economic uncertainty. That's the problem.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we go away?
I'm trying to think of anything.
As I said, we will be on Amazon, but clearly we can't do it because our place is closed and we can't have an audience. So it's the irony of ironies.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the
I think
strangest thing.
everybody's job, not everybody's job, but a lot of people's jobs, everybody's lives, their family, it's kind of put on hold. So I just recommend get out there, get on Zoom,
Zoom.
FaceTime your friends, actually seeing them when you talk to them. It feels just as good as being there.
Really?
It's huge. It's huge.
See, I haven't done any of that.
Oh, because you don't have a good phone.
So
You
Jackie's
can't FaceTime somebody.
Jackie's trying to convince me to buy an Apple phone.
Welcome
an
to
iPhone.
2020,
No, I can't do it. I
Jonathan.
can't do it on principle. I just can't do it. I don't want to be locked into a particular company. I can't do it.
You are locked into a particular
Well,
company.
with Google to some extent, but everybody has their own different version of the Android system, so I'm totally fine with it. So you want to take us? So be safe.
Yes.
Hopefully you've learned something from Jackie's
Yeah, well, and
issues
we
with
should
the
tell
business.
everybody wear your masks when you're out in public if you have access to one, or a scarf, because now it's been recommended that that's what we do.
I got to tell you, I'm not ready for that.
Well, it's coming.
Oh,
So
I
get ready.
found a stash of masks, the 3M masks, but which were used for painting, which I never did, of course. But so I'm not sure if I'm ready to go out there and do that.
Okay.
I'm not sure I can do it.
We'll speak again next week and see
Oh,
if he's
and
changed
next
that
week-
tune.
actually,
the whole world could change by
and the
then.
big news will be, did you get your money next week?
Yeah, well, to be determined, to
be
be
determined.
continued.
All right.
We'll keep you posted on what that looks like and how it goes.
So everybody be safe, and we'll be back.
And have a great week.
Yes, and most of all, be safe. Yeah, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.